The Pacific Ocean wakes up, the latest on the tropics. Will there be more winter weather misery for the US in the upcoming weeks? And your very own storm, more about that to come on WeatherBeat. Hello and welcome to another episode of WeatherBeat. I think it's going to become a regular feature, this. WeatherBeat Wednesdays. Maybe something like that. Might catch on, you never know. My name's Nathan Foy and we are discussing a few things tonight, or wherever you are around the world. Who knows what time it is as you pick it up this video. But the first and probably the main feature that we're really going to be discussing during this installment is the current situation down there in the South Pacific predominantly. And here to talk about it with me right now is Hank and Isaac over there, represented by two screen shares. Good evening to you both.
Good evening.
Hello.
Now, these two systems, well, it's one main system at the moment, which is depicted on Isaac's screen, as you can see there. Isaac, would you like to tell us what you're showing us?
Yes, this is the forecast track off of the Fiji Meteorological Service, showing their forecasted track for Cyclone Oma, or Tropical Storm Oma, rather, over the next coming days here, as it makes its track along the islands over here and heads over towards New Caledonia later on in its life, it appears.
On the satellite picture, it's on the left-hand side. What's that on the right near Fiji? Is that designated as an invest?
I believe that's 93P, if I'm not mistaken, I think, Hank, right?
93P would actually be the system to the south of that.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh. Jeez, okay, so what would be this one then?
It's just an area of convection along the monsoon trough.
So that's not got a name yet, but it sort of... Could I hesitate to say it's doing a bit of a Fujiwara?
It's essentially what it's doing right now.
Now, of course, Oma is what was 96p, and the precursor system has been going for 14 days now. Hank, you're looking at what its future's going to be according to the model runs.
Yeah, so this is the European model right here, showing the whole scenario right here. So before I get in, I'll just explain what each system is. This is Oma right here near Vanuatu. This is 93p to the southwest of Fiji, and this is 92p, but this will become pretty irrelevant going on forward because satellite imagery reveals it to be a pretty naked circulation right now. Not much to say about that. Moving forward here, the two systems, the primary systems, Oma and 93p, are going to undergo some sort of an interaction. Not really a full-blown Fujiwara because 93p is not a full-fledged tropical cyclone, and Oma is significantly more powerful than 93p. So you can see here in the model run, the system begins to weaken as shown by the decrease in isobars around the system, and it just becomes a lot less defined in general, while Oma up here kind of stalls just off the northern islands of Vanuatu. And then proceeding forward, both systems become pretty much irrelevant to the storm. As you can see, 92p moves south, pretty much southwest, north of New Zealand, while 93p just kind of gets sucked into Oma. And then Oma begins to intensify as it begins to progress southwest, as we have right here a building ridge over New Zealand that's pulling it towards the southwest, north of New Caledonia, intensifying. It tries to get to Australia, but doesn't quite get there, and then recurves off towards the southeast, towards New Zealand, towards the end of the run. But this is somewhat of a long-range forecast right here. This exact point right here where it's passing New Caledonia is about 96 to 120 hours. So this is Sunday, Monday when it's doing this, and it's Wednesday right now. So it's a little bit of a long ways out. Threat still remains to New Caledonia, though you're likely not to receive the core. It's still possible. Just keep a wary eye on the system as it progresses to the northwest of you.
It brings up one or two immediate questions for me, because we're looking at the model run there. It stalls for quite some time, very close to the islands of Vanuatu. Are we talking about huge amounts of rainfall here?
Yes. Anytime you have a stalling tropical cyclone over an area, you're going to see pretty large amounts of rain. In fact, if I could look at satellite imagery right here, it's zoomed out here. This is from Ghost West now. It just became operational yesterday. You can see that the storm is just off the coast of Vanuatu, but it's going to move slowly towards the southeast, and even slowly towards the southeast means that the convective envelope around the center is going to move over the island, so you're going to have persistent squalls, heavy rainfall over the courses of just a few hours, intermediate squalls moving in over the course of a few hours, and that's going to persist for several days, and that can lead to widespread flash flooding, street flooding, all the works from that, and that can be pretty damaging in its own right. Again, rainfall with the system is going to be the main threat, as it isn't really a big
now, guys,
right now.
What do we think about the potential threat to the east coast of Australia? Because I'm sure a lot of people over there will be watching with some sort of trepidation as to what the error margin might be on this forecast.
I mean, it is still pretty far out in the future, so it's still kind of hard to say at this point. The European does show it staying well enough offshore that it doesn't receive any direct impacts, although wave heights are going to be highly elevated. Rip currents are going to be a big issue. Usually the normal things you deal with when a tropical cyclone passes to you offshore. And the GFS, which isn't quite out yet for the most recent run, but in the previous run, it's a bit closer to, I'd say, the Brisbane area. But this again is still pretty far out. This is not this Friday, but the next Friday, February 22nd. So this is about 9-10 days away, and even then, the storm is probably just going to be staying offshore, just based on this one model. But again, forecasts can change, so just keep in touch with the regional meteorological services from Fiji, from Australia. Just pay attention to what they're saying regarding the storm, as forecasts can easily change and over the course of several days.
Cyclone warning in effect for many of those islands of Vanuatu. And one more thing about GFS there, we're low on time. It's predicting another big system following behind it near Samoa and Fiji. Would you lend any possibility of that happening? Because it is an outlier both in models and in range.
Yeah, it's one of those systems that's like really far out into the future, so it's very hard to say whether or not it's actually going to develop. At this point right now, GFS has been pretty consistent. However, again, I mean, it doesn't develop until, let's see, that's hour 186 on Thursday, February 21st. So that's 8 days away. So, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on, but it's nothing to be overly panicked about at this point, as the GFS is pretty notorious sometimes for having some erroneously strong storms late into the model run that actually never come to fruition. So this might just be another one of these cases. It might not, but again, we have time to watch this. So yeah, I guess we're in more of a safe spot for this storm than we are for Alma.
And it did that to the extreme, the GFS model, a few runs ago. Isaac, any last comments quickly?
I would just definitely say for anybody who lives in the Vanuatu Islands to definitely keep an eye on Tropical Storm Oma, over the next coming days, as Hank has stated, and just follow the official warnings and advisories off of the Fiji Meteorological Service for updates on the system, and stay up to date.
Well, thanks very much to both of you for that tropical update, and of course they'll be watching it very closely, as we will be here at Force 13. Thank you. Now let's take a look at what's been going on in your neck of the woods around the world on WeatherBeat. Heavy rain early this week in southern Peru has killed at least 10 and caused misery for up to 2,000 people. A dust storm affected New South Wales on Tuesday, reaching Canberra by the afternoon of that day, resulting in limited visibility. And let us know about the weather in your backyard. If you have a local story or any footage for us, do send it in at any of our social outlets or directly by email, contact@force13.com. So it's been a rather interesting winter so far across the United States. There's been some very almost historic cold snaps. Indeed, actually were historic in some areas. Well, we're going to find out now if there's any more on the way. And with me is Thomas Schwendt, who's been with us for a few weeks now. And he's going to be talking to us about the upcoming weather scene in the US. Thomas.
Yeah, the United States is looking very interesting here over the next few days. So I'm actually going to pull up this weather model here that I think does a very good job of what I think is going to happen over the next few days. This is what we're looking at about 72 hours before now, well below average temperatures. And if we look back here, this is what we're looking at right about now. And you can see temperatures really, really warm, especially around the central part of the United States. That's going to change here soon. And as you look at the GFS, I'll show you this is going to be around noon here. Of Thursday. So this is about noon Thursday or so, and you can see this cold starting to bulge into the United States. Very, very warm temperatures encompassing a good chunk of the United States, but you can see in the northwest here that cold plunge starting to move in. Now what you'll notice here is I'm going to go just a few more days out, and this cold plunge vastly expands, so you can see below average temperatures really throughout a very good portion of the United States. And I know some other people mentioned earlier that places like Los Angeles could, if it not being likely at this point, get below freezing at this point, and that is something that we haven't seen there very often. So very, very cold temperatures expected, and you can see things only get further colder as time does go on, with only really the state of Florida having above average temperatures at this point. So this is what we're looking at temperatures wise. Very cold temperatures throughout the entire United States, especially the western half. And then if we take a look at precipitation, precipitation isn't looking too much better when it comes to winter weather events. So here's what we're looking at. You can see California is going to get the brunt of this. You can actually check out the US weather update for more details on that just came out. But you can see California getting quite a bit of precipitation over the next couple of days before things do move out. But you can see midway through this run, more precipitation, especially in the southeastern United States. That could become a trend. Some of that could be severe, but more information will be coming in.
That's a lot of snow coming in there in the northwest.
Yes, there's quite a bit of snow. Not 100% sure just how much it's going to be. I wouldn't get my hopes up too much because temperatures may not be as cold as the GFS is predicting, in my opinion. But still lots and lots of snow in the northeast and quite a bit in the northwest. The northwest especially is going to get hammered probably over the next few days. Right. The northeast wouldn't get my hopes up.
Well, Thomas, if we're talking about the reliability of the GFS model, can we compare this to the last winter weather event, and how did it perform there?
In the last winter weather event I looked at, which was Harper, it performed fairly well. It did take the storm through the central United States. The GFS nearly nailed the snow accumulations in my particular area of around St. Louis, although in some other areas it was a little more fishy as to just how much snow it was accumulating. We know this especially in the tropics. The GFS loves to deepen low-pressure systems a lot more than they're supposed to be, and that trend does remain true over land in the United States, so sometimes it does overestimate just how strong these systems can get.
And any hints for us in terms of the long range? Are we coming out of winter pretty soon, or is it still going to be looking pretty cold and miserable, in my opinion, for the foreseeable?
For the foreseeable future, things are actually going to get a lot colder.
Wow.
In the long range, and it could get pretty bad before things do warm up at the very end of the run. But some severe weather
that'll be
also
like
possible,
the end of the month, won't it?
Yeah. But the GFS also shows some spring-like characteristics with the possibility of a substantial severe weather event around 234 hours out. So that's quite a ways out, and the severe weather event probably won't happen. If it does, it won't be in the fashion this conveys. Things are going to change quite drastically this far out by the time we do get to Friday the 22nd.
Thomas, with the US weather forecast, thank you very much for that, and the outlook there going on to the very distant future, you could say. We'll see how that one pans out.
Yeah,
well,
thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. We're also joined by Strat at this time, our resident clown sometimes, but
come on, man. You
Strat's not so well tonight. Strat's not so well.
No, I've been pretty sick lately, so sorry for the scraggly voice at all.
Now, Force 13 today has come out with a new initiative for our patrons, and we do value our patrons very much, and we're going to be giving a message out about that tonight. And more initiatives in how we reward our most substantial and loyal patrons, Strat.
Yeah, so this is actually something really interesting. The way we've been thinking about putting into the works has been long in discussion. And it was decided a couple days ago to put into action that all patrons that have contributed over $50 lifetime, regardless of their tier, will get their own individual storm animation created by our team for them. So if you've donated over $50 your lifetime, regardless of our 4 tiers, which are the $1, $5, $10, and $25, our team will create your own individual storm animation for you. And I think that's something very cool because
the wording was better than that in the document there. Our magical team or something.
I know, it is our magical team. But, you know, I'll say professional team. That's the way I want to put it. Because the quality work that the animators here put in are absolutely insane. I could never do that in my wildest dreams. So to see people do it so easily, quite a shock. But I couldn't do it. I will just be keeping my role in the project while everyone that deserves these, I think it's 6 people already, get their own rewards out. And I'll just do a quick little screen share as well of our page, just to...
Well, whilst you're doing that, I'd just like to mention in how all of this works as well. You know, we work very hard here, you know, over the project's 7-year history. I think my work hours is very nearly 8,000 now, which is unbelievable. I don't know how I've been here for so long, but anything that we do receive as part of your generosity, obviously some of it is translated into rewards, but of course anything that we do receive is also translated into the work that we do, and that's also why that we've been getting so much better in the last 12 months in terms of our quality, because we have been supported more, and we like to thank everyone for that, Strat.
Yeah, I'd say the support that we've gotten, not only from team members that were already here, but from the exponential increase on both Facebook and YouTube, has really helped push us forward into new innovations and continuing to better our product and service that we provide. And this is just another step that we're doing to show how much we appreciate the support that we've been given in the past 7 years now.
So on this new initiative, where you have your own individual storm animation, basically. Obviously, you get to choose the name, you get to choose the basin, you get to choose the track, and indeed, you also get to choose whether we put it online or not. We certainly don't mind doing so, but obviously, if you want just the peace of mind or the anonymity of doing it personally, just to you, and to have no one else privy to it, at least. We're happy to do that as well. I think that's everything, Strat.
I mean, that really is. We're always thinking up new ideas for Patreon rewards and just ways to give back. I think this is already stated here this is publicly viewable on our Patreon page, that we're always looking for new ideas to give back to our supporters. And if you have your own, you can either message us on Facebook, leave a comment in our community tab on YouTube, tweet at us, or you can message Nathan or myself on Discord. That information will probably be in the description of this video.
As always.
We're always open to new ideas.
Alright, well there we are. That concludes everything that we're talking about tonight, the latest developments, and we'll see you again soon for another installment of WeatherBeat. I think we're going to try and get it onto regular WeatherBeat Wednesdays. It's been really busy here at Force 13 HQ, mostly behind the scenes, so that's why it's been a little bit quiet on the surface. I can tell you that very soon we will be finishing what I've really been working on massively over the last few months, the West Pacific reanalysis from the years 1884 to 1945. There's 10 seasons left to reanalyze at the time of recording, so we're getting very nearly finishing. That project has been going on since August 2017. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes, especially with the data side, because I also feel that's quite important, as well as everything else that we're doing here on the project. We'll see you again soon. Thanks very much, Strat, Thomas, and Hank and Isaac from earlier, and we'll see you again as soon as we can. Good night. Along with the main Force 13 channel for our world audience, we have regional channels, Force 13 AU and Oceania, Force 13 UK and Ireland, and Force 13 US and Caribbean. These channels all need your support and involvement, so if you're in those areas, please check them out. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com with the latest. You can also find our YouTube page. You're probably there already, but if not, subscribe if you haven't so far. You can also find our Facebook page, Force 13 all in text, and it's at Force 13 on Twitter if you'd like to get in touch with us on there. You can also help the project become even better by enjoying the benefits of patronage. You can find out more information about how to become a patron and what those benefits are at patreon.com/Force13. You can also find my personal account on Discord, Fool13 at extension 9094, and Force13 on Skype.